Edward stands where the light does not quite reach, and that has always been his advantage. Power, in its most refined form, does not arrive loudly. It settles in, unnoticed, like a draft through a closed room. In the corridors of the palace, where tradition masks intention, something has begun to change. Not abruptly, not dramatically, but with the kind of precision that only years of observation can produce. Faces once familiar now appear less frequently. Invitations feel selective. The atmosphere, once comfortably predictable, carries a subtle tension, and at the center of it all is a man long dismissed as peripheral. For years he remained steady while others drew attention. While scandals erupted and narratives shifted, Edward stayed quiet, almost invisible. But invisibility, in a structure like this, is not weakness, it is access. It allows one to listen, to understand, to map the unseen connections that hold everything together. And now, as the monarchy edges toward its next chapter, that quiet presence no longer feels passive, it feels intentional. The shift is not being announced, yet it is being felt, and that is precisely what makes it powerful. Nothing inside the palace truly disappears overnight. Instead, it fades, carefully, deliberately, one absence at a time, one rearranged moment at a time. The figures once closely tied to Camilla's circle are still present, but their presence feels diluted, less central, less influential. It is not exclusion, it is repositioning. This is how influence is reshaped in a system that does not tolerate open conflict. There are no confrontations, no declarations, only patterns. A familiar face standing slightly further back, a trusted voice no longer guiding the tone of a gathering, a shift in attention that feels almost accidental, until it happens again and again. Edward does not need to speak for this to happen. The power lies in subtle alignment, in knowing where to place emphasis and where to withdraw it. The result is something almost invisible to the outside world, yet unmistakable to those within it. A quiet recalibration that suggests the center of gravity is moving. Every institution that survives as long as the monarchy learns one essential truth: it must always prepare for what comes next, even while presenting stability in the present. And right now, the future has a name, a shape, a presence that is impossible to ignore. William. His moment may not be immediate, but it is inevitable. And inevitability changes behavior. It shifts loyalties, realigns priorities, and quietly rewrites the importance of every individual within the structure. The question is no longer just who holds power today, but who will matter tomorrow. That is where the tension begins to surface. Because Camilla's influence, carefully built over years of persistence and resilience, is deeply tied to the present. It rose alongside Charles, strengthened with him, and found its place within his reign. But as the focus begins to tilt forward, that foundation feels less certain, and Edward, standing between the present and the future, appears to understand exactly how that transition must unfold, not forcefully, but seamlessly. In a monarchy defined by image, proximity is everything. It determines perception, and perception becomes reality. Who stands closest during key moments, who is seen, who is acknowledged, these are not minor details. They are signals. Lately, those signals have begun to shift. The energy at events feels different. Conversations gather around new focal points. The alignment seems less about reinforcing what is and more about shaping what will be. And within that subtle transformation, certain figures appear increasingly aligned with William's future rather than Camilla's present. This is not removal in the traditional sense. It is something far more refined, a narrowing of relevance, a gentle tightening of the frame until only those who fit the next chapter remain clearly visible. Edward's role in this does not require authority in the conventional sense. It requires awareness, timing, and the patience to let small decisions accumulate into something far greater. And that is exactly what appears to be happening. By the time the defining moment arrives, when the world turns its full attention to the next era, the outcome will not feel sudden. It will feel inevitable, because every subtle shift, every quiet adjustment, will have already done its work. The monarchy does not transform in a single moment. It evolves through a series of controlled, almost imperceptible changes that, over time, reshape the entire picture. And when that picture is finally revealed, it reflects not just the present, but the careful design of those who understood where it was heading all along. Camilla will remain a figure of significance. That much is certain, but significance and centrality are not the same. One is granted by title, the other by positioning, and positioning is being rewritten. In the end, the most striking element of this story may not be the rise or fall of any single figure, but the quiet precision with which it all unfolds. No conflict, no declarations, just a gradual reordering of importance until the future stands exactly where it was always meant to. And when that moment comes, when the cameras settle and the world looks on, the question will no longer be what changed, but how it happened so seamlessly that almost no one noticed until it was already complete.